Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is John at the Bumbling Eddie Podcast. This is episode 16. Today, we are going to, well, we being me, I want to talk about vision. So, vision, not necessarily what you see in front of you, but kind of what you see for yourself and how you plan on getting there. I'll just share a little bit about how I envision things happening for me, not necessarily what those goals are, but this is just going to touch on the goal setting piece that I talked about in a previous podcast. So, um, my brain works a little bit differently than a lot of people. So, well, at least I like to think that. So, one of the biggest things that I do is I try to get to a point in my head and then I reverse engineer back how it is that I'm going to get there. So, for example, I set a goal for myself of going to college and getting a college degree. Now that may not mean anything to anyone else, but it meant something to me. And I touched on that in earlier episodes as well. But when you set your mind to something, you have to try to figure out a roadmap and how to get there. So the way that I work again is I look to see, or I think about where I want to get to. Then I reverse engineer that back to get me to a point of saying, okay, if I want to be at a certain point, what do I have to do to get there? And then I say, okay, I'm going to need this. I'm going to need this. And I just reverse engineer back to exactly where I am right now and see what steps I can take going forward, or who I need to network with, or what kind of certification I need to get, or, in the sense of um, anything, just maybe doing research and trying to figure out exactly what path it is that I need to take in order to get to where I can actually reach my goals that I've set for myself. So it's not a very easy thing to do. One of the things that I do is I document them. I don't document as well as I think I should. However, I do write them down. So I'm kind of a data geek. I'm a number nerd. I'm not like a mathematician by any sense of the word, but I really enjoy data sets and spreadsheets and all that kind of stuff. So on top of that, I grew up in manufacturing and I like tangible goods as well. So I like being able to produce something that's tangible, whether it's watching an episode of how it's made or going to a manufacturing plant, um, with work, or talking to people about how things are made. They're those kind of things that I'm really interested in. So one of the um, one of the things I like to do is I like to talk to people that are successful. And success doesn't necessarily mean money. I think I've touched on that as well. But from my perspective, what is success? So success is maybe raising good kids. Maybe success is reaching a position in a company, or having a title. Maybe success to you is owning a certain kind of car. Maybe success to you is taking 5 vacations a year. Whatever it is, that's completely up to you. But it's just about vision, right? So it's about how do you get there. I hear often from people that I talk to on a regular basis that say, hey, why do you go to Mexico a lot? Well, it's because I really like it there. For those of you in the area, and those of you who grew up, I guess where I've grown up, you're going down to Jersey Shore, can end up costing you a lot of money over the course of a weekend. You can go to Mexico for the same cost for 4 or 5 days and have a much better time and know exactly. It's kind of like a fixed cost vacation for me. You get to go to really nice places, and Mexico is actually very beautiful from my perspective. So that's just what I wanted to talk about as far as vision goes. I don't want to get too far off track. Again, this is the Bumbling Yeti, and I do like to talk about stuff in different subjects and such. But again, from my perspective, vision is really trying to figure out where it is you want to get, or I guess vision is, how do you get there? Not necessarily the actual goal, right? So you're going to envision the goal. You're going to envision where you want to be. Do you want to retire at a certain age? Do you want to be, I don't know, an airline pilot? Do you want to drive a truck for a living? Do you want to see the country? Do you want to ride a motorcycle across the country? I've talked about it many times. My really, really good friend, he likes to get on his motorcycle and just drive around the country. He has a trip that he's trying to work on right now, and he has this vision of riding his motorcycle to the Arctic Circle. And I was very interested in that conversation, and I will have him on this podcast. It's just a matter of time. Maybe I'll try to get him on here next week. Troy, if you listen, actually, I'll just send this to you so you'll know I'm talking about you anyway. So make plans to be on this podcast. So again, I just want you to think a little bit more about vision and how it is you're going to get to a certain goal, or how it is you want to attain something. So do you want to become a professional athlete? Do you want to be a baseball player? When I was younger, I really, truly thought I was going to go to college for baseball. Things didn't work out the way I thought they were going to work out. That is 100% my own fault. But outside of that, I have an alternative vision to help as many young men and young women, softball players or baseball players, whatever. I keep hitting this boom here on my microphone. My goal is to help as many of those young men and women find a way to pursue their passion, whether it's going to be a sport, whether it's going to be musical, or whether it's going to be, they're trying to invent something. They want to make the world a better place. They want to save the planet. Those kind of things right there are super important to me. Because I didn't attain a certain thing doesn't necessarily mean I still can't help someone else attain it. Again, I have a lot of really, really good friends. I have talked to a ton of people, successful in their own right. And again, from my perspective, they're taking time to help me understand when I talk about things. Because look, I will go off on tangents like no one's business. I have ideas in my head just from talking to someone who I've never met before. And I'm like, you know what? I could do that. And you know what? I can. Nothing keeps me from doing anything except for me. It's like me and this big, huge neck thing I got going on here. I did that. I can control it. Well, I think I can, but most days I can't. But again, it's just a matter of really trying to outlay what it is that you want out of life. So it's never too early or never too late to really plan to get somewhere or something that you really, really want. I have a friend of mine who I met through the golf business. He, I hope to have him on here as well. A few guys from the golf business, actually. But I remember talking to him over a round of golf and him telling me about his dad. And his dad was a blue-collar guy, worked hard every day. I hope I'm not butchering this, but I remember it pretty vividly. He worked hard every day. He got to a point and he said, you know what? His dream was to have a Viper, a Dodge Viper car. So he went out and he worked his tail off and he ended up getting this Dodge Viper. And anyone who knows anything about cars, they are very, very nice cars. They're powerful. It's just kind of like I guess at that time, it was like modern day muscle car, right? So it had like a certain flair, but today we have all these Hellcats and Elephants and all these different, cars out there that are, I guess you could call American muscle. But again, I just want to kind of poke you a little bit to think about and try to visualize what it is that you want, how you want to get there. And on your journey along those, whatever path it is that you try to take, maybe you could take someone else with you. You don't necessarily have to provide equity to them as far as money or percentage or anything. That was a very interesting conversation I had recently with a very, very good friend of mine about business, is that, you just want to be true to your word. And I've lived that way my entire career. I always do what I think is the right thing. It's gotten me in trouble a few times, but again, it's about ethics. It's about really, I guess, putting your best foot forward and doing the right thing. And integrity is a big thing to me. Integrity is doing the right thing even when no one's watching. So, again, my vision to be a baseball player And for, my buddy Jared out there, he and I talked about this, and my dream growing up was to be a Wichita State Shocker. That was where I wanted to go play baseball. And if it wasn't there, it was going to be, I wanted to go to Arizona State. Turns out that probably a little while after all that, I fell in love with LSU. And again, my vision was to be a product of LSU, of product of the Louisiana State University program. And that's where I ended up getting my master's at. So that little fire that I had in me when I was younger started with baseball. And then it ended up being people, started to maybe believe in me a little bit more than I believed in myself. And that kind of springboarded me into bigger and better things, and understanding that, I can do a lot of things that I didn't think were possible. So again, everyone, this is, my kind of take on vision. We've all had a lot of time to sit back and think, reflect about certain things, and think about things that we've done right. Probably a lot of things, at least from my perspective, a lot of things that I've done wrong, especially over the course of this last month and a half or month. I don't even know how many days it's been, but with the coronavirus thing, and I don't like to bring it up because it's all we hear about it, but it's a very important time in the history of our world, actually. So to really outlay, I guess, certain things that you're trying to get done, certain things that you've put off, certain things you've delayed, maybe it's time. Maybe it's time to, go ahead and say, why wait? Why wait anymore? I listened to a podcast. I listened to Chris D'Elia. He's hilarious. By the way, I'm just going to give the dude a shout out for his latest Netflix show. I forget what it's called. I need to look it up now, because you never know if he ends up seeing it. But I think it was called No Pain. Chris D'Elia, No Pain, on Netflix. He's actually very funny. All his specials are funny. So anyway, he was saying, he just started making money. And again, I'm not really doing it any justice, but he just started making money. He said, you know what he's going to do? He's going to go out. He's going to just start throwing cash at people and saying, I want that car I want a foreign car. And people will be like, well, where's it from? He goes, I don't know. They just started a new country. There's like 5 guys there. They made a car. But maybe think about things that you wanted, or places you want to get to, whether it's a physical place or whether it's a place in your life you want to get to. A lot of stuff that we can do now. You can do anything you put your mind to. Maybe you can't be an astronaut, but you can certainly go out and make a difference in someone's life or your own. The biggest thing is, one of the most important things I've learned, and then I'll shut this thing down, is that it's okay to be selfish. So it's completely okay to be selfish, as long as you're not one of those selfish people that are saying, I don't know, I'm going to go out and buy all the toilet paper that's in the store because, I'm going to have a problem. That's just ignorant, selfish, right? When I talk about being selfish, I talk about doing what's best for you while keeping the people closest to you in mind. So for me, I like to do things that maybe some of the people closest to me don't like to do. Well, that's kind of the way it goes. I'm going to be my own person. But at the end of the day, if you surround yourself with the right people, they will find a way to support you, no matter what it is that you're trying to do. Whether you go buy a boat and it's sitting in your driveway and you wash it and you don't put the cover on it and it's dirty again, or, your buddy gives you a scooter and it just sits outside and you cruise around the block in it there's a ton of different things. But be selfish, and, be selfish in a healthy way, not in an unhealthy way where you're going to affect other people. And once you start doing that, it's just not a good look. So again, this is all about vision, trying to figure out a way of how you're going to get to where you want to get. And for me, this all started with a reverse engineered thing. So oddly enough, there's going to be some changes coming to this video wise. I'm working on some ideas. I got a couple plans. I just want to make it a little more aesthetically pleasing. I am working on some guests, and honestly, guests who all said that they wanted to come on here are extremely difficult to get. But everyone's busy, and I do understand that. I still work a 9 to 5. So I only have a limited amount of time, basically, from 5 until whenever. I'll stay up, whatever. I'll get up early if I have to. But again, vision. Try to think about what it is that's important to you and what it is that you want to achieve. So that being said, again, this is John at the Bumbling Yeti. Throw some ideas at me. I'm on Instagram now. I'm on Facebook. So check that out. Give me some ideas. I'm super interested in what you guys want to hear. I have an amazing guest that I'm lining up. I just said, I can't talk too much about it. Anyway, it would be very big for me, personally. And, especially from where I actually live, it would be even more meaningful. But, anyway, stay well, everyone, stay healthy. And let me know what you want to hear. Let me know what kind of guests you want me to try to get, because look, I'm sending notes to all kind of people, because again, my vision is to help them tell their story. So I'm trying to reverse engineer that. So yeah, I'm swinging for the fences. I got a couple people that, I've got a couple higher profile people that you may or may not have heard about, but in my world, they're high profile. So I hope that anyone that I bring on here will bring some kind of interest to you. So again, this is John at the Bumbling Yeti. I bumbled enough for this evening. Have a wonderful day, night, week, whatever. I'm going to try to get more of these on here very soon. And stay well. Thank you, everybody. Bye.